I was conspired by my husband and mother-in-law to be in a car accident, and I lost my life. The king of hell took pity on me and gave me a chance to choose a good family in the next world. Without hesitation, I immediately wrote down my mother-in-law's name. I want to be her daughter, don't you think about it? This is your enemy, that's right. I want to be reborn to avenge myself. The underworld officer punches the time clock at the reincarnation gate. Without another word, I jump in. The ghost guard was about to close the door when something whooshed in after it. Turning around, he saw another ghost guard with a grim expression, holding 4 lollipops, and let out a ghostly scream. Those little ghosts said they want to avenge their mommy and refuse to be reincarnated. 1. In the hospital delivery room, waves of ghostly wails and howls erupted, even more terrifying than the evil spirits in the underworld. The doctor came out with a troubled expression and said to the husband and father-in-law, "Mr. Jew, the baby is not in the right position, and we may need to perform a C-section." The father-in-law asked suspiciously, "During all the checkups, everything was fine and the baby was in the right position. How come now, when it's time to give birth, the baby is suddenly not in the right position?" His tone was full of doubt about the doctor's medical skills. The doctor felt a chill down his spine and didn't know how to explain it. During the checkup, the baby was in the correct position but was being stubborn, and could have been delivered naturally. Now, the ultrasound shows the baby's limbs are splayed out, with no signs of a smooth delivery at all. The pregnant woman has already fainted several times. In the end, after discussing it, the father and son signed the consent form for a cesarean section. Ju Wen said, "I'm going to make this little rascal pay when he comes out." Then, with a tone of complaint, she said to her father-in-law, "Dad, you're already so old, why are you still bothering Mom? If you want a grandson, I can give you one." The father-in-law glanced disdainfully at Ju Wen's crotch and said, "What's the matter? Now that there's one more person to compete with you for the family fortune, you're not happy, are you?" Ju Wen's face showed no concern at all. No matter how hard his father works, he still ends up with a son. In the Ju family, sons are worthless, it's the daughters who are valuable. Ignoring his father's frustration over his lack of ambition, he picked up his phone and went out to make a call. "After a night, I was finally captured." The obstetrician picked me up, looked at me, and exclaimed in shock at what was in my hand, "Is she a devil? She took her own mother's uterus. How is that possible? Where would a baby get the strength?" The doctor and nurse exchanged glances, unsure how to explain to the patient that I had removed her daughter's uterus. If my mother-in-law could give birth to a beast like Ju Wen, her uterus must have rotted long ago. I'm doing society a favor. I felt as if wrapped in a soft towel, being carried out. My heart filled with joy, finally reborn into the human world. Ju Wen and that despicable mistress, I'm coming. The doctor told the family with a grave expression about the bizarre incident of the baby removing the mother's uterus. It was perfectly normal for the family to find it absurd. Sweating profusely, he waited for the family to explode in anger, as his medical career might very well end today. "Indeed. Your wife's uterus." Ju Hao waved his hand to interrupt him. Looking agitated, he showed no sorrow over his wife losing her uterus and instead urgently grabbed the doctor's sleeve. "What, doctor, you? Say that again. What did you say? What did my wife give birth to?" Ju Hao was trembling with excitement. The doctor, fearing he might have a stroke, supported his body and spoke, It's a girl." Ju Hao opened his mouth, confirmed that the doctor wasn't lying to him, and immediately collapsed to the ground. When Ju Wen returned and saw his father so excited that he had fainted, his face was full of disbelief. "Isn't it just a stinky boy? Is it really that serious? Who can't have a son?" When they heard the doctor repeat that it was a girl, they yelled that the doctor was lying, and only believed it after getting the paternity test. His mother gave birth to a sister for him. "This is the only girl in the Ju family in 100 years. I will be the golden treasure of the Ju family, too." As soon as I opened my eyes, I met more than a dozen pairs of concerned eyes, some disbelieving, but more were filled with jealousy, and some even reached out to touch me to verify the truth. These were all the Ju family relatives who had once embarrassed her. Although I don't quite understand why they hate me, Chongsheng only felt disgusted, turning her face away to prevent them from touching her. Meanwhile, her mother-in-law, Su Tsayun, leaned contentedly against a soft pillow. Holding a bowl of bird's nest in her hands, Her face beamed with a sense of unparalleled glory, basking in the admiring gazes of everyone around her, and the smile on her lips never faded. I never thought I'd have the honor of giving birth to a girl for the Jew family. I wonder if my baby will be able to spend 100 billion in this lifetime. After hearing this, the other daughters-in-law of the Jew family who couldn't give birth to daughters were grinding their teeth in frustration. And I was also utterly shocked. In the Jew family, if a baby girl is born, she can receive 100 billion from the Jew family by the age of 7, inherit 10 properties, directly enter the Jew family enterprise and join the board of directors when she grows up, ensuring a worry-free life with decision-making power. This also involves my own family. Ju Wen's family is a collateral branch, wealthy but without power. Their only chance to turn things around was to have a daughter. Therefore, Ju Wen couldn't wait to marry me as soon as we reached the legal age. Originally, I refused because my parents had an accident while traveling. Ju Wen held my hand. His gaze filled with deep affection. Yeah, now you only have me. Marry me, let me be your family, and let me protect you. And so, I married Ju Wen. After marriage, Ju Wen was eager to have children, and we both underwent various medical examinations. The Ju family's chef prepared various health remedies for me, and I was even forced to give up my favorite milk tea. On the very day we shared a bed, a specialized doctor measured the quality of sperm and fertilized eggs. And I had to drink all kinds of tonics. I couldn't stand it and protested to Ju Wen. Moreover, I firmly believed that a wealthy family like the Jews must favor sons over daughters, and all these excessive measures were just to have a boy. I angrily said, "Your family favors sons over daughters. But I'm determined to have a daughter." So what? So what? Ju Wen held me and said, "To your belly." Okay, a girl. I love girls the most. Hearing this, I felt relieved that Ju Wen wasn't old-fashioned or conservative and didn't favor boys over girls. After I became pregnant, I prayed every day for a girl. A month later, he couldn't wait to take me for a checkup. The thought of lying on a cold machine made me refuse, but I went after being persuaded by Ju Wen and my parents-in-law. Once the results came out, my life went from heaven to hell. Ju Wen told me the child had congenital genetic deficiencies and insisted on an abortion. If I objected, I would inexplicably fall while walking, have diarrhea while eating, or get into a car accident while driving. Twice, all the children were gone just like that. I even developed severe depression. Not long after, one day I received a photo of a belly. The woman didn't show her face, but was caressing her belly. There was another hand next to the belly, and I recognized it as my husband Ju Wen's wedding ring. Furious, I questioned the man, and he smoothly admitted it. He held my hand with a face full of blame, pointing at my stomach. "It's your fault for not being able to bear the child I want." After that, another car accident occurred, and I lost my third child. This time, I was gone too. Until death, I never understood what he meant by "the child I want." Can children really be customized? Now I'm starting to understand a bit. This is why every member of the Jew family wants a girl, because they can get a large share of the family fortune. They might even gain the real power they've always dreamed of, because I am carrying a boy, not the golden child they were expecting. But those are all descendants of the Jew family, each one a living life. And my deeply beloved husband only sees me as a machine for producing golden children, now that I have become the golden child their family wanted. I don't know if I will be able to enjoy it. 3. My mother-in-law, who is well-maintained, was about to touch me when I let out a piercing cry. Wah! Everyone in the ward was startled. My mother-in-law's face changed slightly, but she didn't give up and tried again, this time with even more intense wailing. The relatives all looked at this scene with suspicion. Isn't this her daughter? Why won't she let her hold her? Could it be that you've brought a child from somewhere to fool us? The mother-in-law, looking furious, threw out the paternity test results, but still unable to hold the child, she gritted her teeth in frustration. Hearing the crying, the father-in-law's face darkened. He forcefully slapped away the mother-in-law's hand, carefully picked up the child, who was still whimpering softly. At that moment, Ju Wen entered. She started chattering away at him. Everyone was even more astonished. Does this child want his brother to hold him? No one knew who said that. Ju Wen heard the sound and proactively picked me up, and I immediately stopped crying and fussing, leaving everyone dumbfounded. The child doesn't want mom to hold them, only wants grandpa and older brother to hold them. Mother-in-law's face turned green with anger. She gritted her teeth, unable to vent her frustration. Ju Wen's expression shifted from full of disdain to increasingly attentive, holding me carefully while others thought it was sibling bonding. I don't think so. Probably thinking that now I'm worth billions, if I get close to him in the future, he can milk money from me like shearing a sheep. I'm not that kind-hearted either. I just find my mother-in-law disgusting. As for Ju Wen, I have my own ways to torment him. My mother-in-law couldn't understand for the life of her why I was so resistant to her. Every time she got close to me, I felt like pulling the alarm, crying non-stop. Not only did I cry until I was dehydrated, but I also developed a fever, which later turned into pneumonia and landed me in the emergency room. The Ju family was concerned and mobilized a medical team. My father-in-law was taken aside for a talking to, meaning they couldn't take care of me as a family, so they took me to live with the main household. My father-in-law came back so angry that he slapped my mother-in-law across the face, causing her right cheek to swell, and sternly warned her not to come near me again, so they all revolved around me. And my mother-in-law was completely neglected, her status plummeting. Taking advantage of everyone being away from home, she sneaked into the nursery and stared at me in bed with a menacing expression. Without hesitation, she reached out toward my neck and snorted coldly. I turned my innocent eyes and stared at her. I deliberately revealed the jade pendant on my neck worth tens of millions, along with the gold bracelets on my wrists and ankles, stunned by the display. My mother-in-law slowly regained her composure, took a step back, then seemed to make up her mind and forcibly tried to get close, picking me up. "It's okay, even if you don't like Mom will always love you," attempting to brainwash me. I cried until my face turned green, resisting her touch with my entire body. My mother-in-law went mad, pinning down my frail limbs with her hands, baring her teeth with a ferocious expression, revealing the whites of her eyes. "You forced me to do this. So fond of crying, I'll make sure you never have the chance to cry again in this lifetime. That way you'll behave." She wants to kill me. Staring at the syringe that had suddenly appeared in the woman's hand, a chill spread throughout my body. I am a baby less than 3 months old. She won't even spare me. Is the daughter not the only one she wants? In fact, all my mother-in-law wants is an obedient golden child. Whoever threatens her position, she won't spare them, no matter what. I absolutely cannot let her succeed. I struggled with all my might. The commotion was too loud. My father-in-law and Ju Wen came in upon hearing the noise. Grabbing the syringe from my mother-in-law's hand and seeing the liquid inside, their expressions changed drastically. My father-in-law ordered someone to take it for testing. The test revealed it was a drug that could turn someone into a vegetative state. My mother-in-law couldn't get my gold nugget and resented me for stealing the Ju family's affection, so she made me invisible, causing my status to plummet. She then wanted to turn me into a vegetable, unable to die but still allowing her to get the money. Ju Hao's face was dark and terrifying. My mother-in-law collapsed to the ground, begging for mercy. Ju Hao, the evidence was solid, and no one could save her. Upon hearing that Ju Hao would confine her, forbidding her from stepping into the main house, she glared furiously at me in Ju Wen's hands. "You jinx, ever since I knew you were born and you clawed at my womb, I knew you were an evil spirit, coming back to take revenge on me. Are you that bitch Song Jiue?" I gasped, pointing my finger innocently at her, and suddenly laughed. Trembling, I pointed and said, "Husband, she really is an evil spirit. It's Song Jiue. She's come back to take revenge on us." Ju Hao and Ju Wen looked at me, my eyes brimming with tears, clearly frightened and crying, pitiful and miserable. The two of them thought the mother-in-law was truly insane, pointing at such a young child and calling her a devil, even saying she was Song Jiue, and wanting to turn the child into a vegetable without a hint of mercy. Ju Wen spoke up and ordered the bodyguards to take the mother-in-law away. "Actually, my mother-in-law wasn't wrong. I am indeed a wicked ghost. I am Song Jiue. My father-in-law hired 5 nannies to take care of me around the clock, but I didn't want any of them. I only clung to Ju Wen. The moment Ju Wen left, I would immediately cry as if the sky were falling and the earth were cracking. Ju Wen had no choice but to take me to the company during the day and sleep with me at night. I cry every hour, sometimes barely sleeping in the middle of the night, and I need to be held to stop crying, so Ju Wen has no choice but to hold me, for a whole month. Ju Wen hasn't had a single peaceful night's sleep. From being originally happy to increasingly haggard, even walking feels light and unsteady. From being cheerful to no longer cheerful, Ju Wen finally couldn't take it anymore, dialing an unfamiliar number. I quickly realized this was the same number that had sent me the photos before. "Mate, you've finally shown up, you homewrecker." After hanging up the phone, I instructed the maid to pack some formula, diapers, clothes, and toys for me. When the Maserati stopped in front of a villa, her eyes were wide open. Staring at the familiar building, her eyes nearly popped out, unwilling to believe that Ju Wen had brought me to our home. The mistress had already taken over the love nest that once belonged to the two of them. The door opened, and a familiar, crisp, soft voice came through, straining to stretch my neck. I saw a face all too familiar, my head buzzing, feeling as if the sky and earth were spinning. Yi Huan, my best friend. My gaze slowly fell, and seeing the woman's bulging belly, I understood everything. The woman's eyes fell on my face. "Who is she, Ju Wen? Did you have a secret child behind my back?" "I'm not Song Jiue. Don't even think about fooling me." After saying that, she moved to slap Ju Wen across the face. Ju Wen had already been driven to the brink of patience by me and snapped at the woman, telling her I was her sister, a sister worth billions. Yi Huan widened her eyes upon hearing this. "She's worth so much." Upon receiving confirmation, she immediately softened her expression and took me into her arms. When Ju Wen saw that I didn't resist Yi Huan's embrace, his eyes lit up. Yi Huan blushed under Ju Wen's gaze, thinking she had some kind of irresistible charm. Ju Wen gave a few instructions, found a room, and went straight to sleep. Yi Huan sat on my sofa, stroking her belly. "Come, this is your nephew. If you, as his aunt, want to cherish him in the future, just divide your 10 billion and give it to him. I heard you also have 10 properties worth 20 billion. Give 7 or 8 of them to him. When he grows up, he will definitely take good care of you." I found it utterly disgusting to listen to. Seeing how quiet I was, Yi Huan suddenly smiled, looking very pleased with herself. "Sister-in-law tells you, actually this baby of mine is also a girl. Since you can get 10 billion, she can too." The more I thought about it, the more excited I became, and I started laughing out loud. This is Ju Wenlian not even pretending, having no expectations for me while I'm pregnant. Because he finally found a woman who can give him a daughter. Still, it's that friend of mine who always complains about Ju Wen's obsession with money. Secretly, she's plotting to seduce her friend's husband. In the following days, I behaved as obediently as a rag doll. Yi Huan took good care of me. Ju Wen felt that bringing me to Yi Huan for care was the wisest decision. Little did he know, it was also a decision they would come to regret deeply. "Be good. Sister-in-law will make you some milk." Yi Huan stood up and left, while I stared at the height of the sofa, estimating it. I thought if I fell, I might faint or even die, but I was sure there was no life-threatening danger. Using all my strength, I flipped over and fell to the ground with a thud, passing out. When I woke up, I was in the nanny's arms. My father-in-law, furious, threw a valuable vase at Ju Wen, leaving his head covered in blood. Yi Huan was terrified, trembling and crying as she stood to the side. My father-in-law's gaze toward Yi Huan was filled with venom. After all, he had been a transparent figure in the family his whole life. But now, thanks to his daughter, he could finally hold his head high in the family. All of this relying on me. I am more important to him than his own life. Yi Huan stepped back in fear, her hand stroking her stomach as she glanced at Ju Wen, hoping he would quickly protect her. I saw Ju Wen enduring the pain as he shielded Yi Huan behind him. My heart aches with sorrow. If only he had protected me and our child like that, our child wouldn't have been lost. Watching the 4 souls surrounding the man, staring blankly at Yi Huan's belly, Ji Wen found his voice again, unable to hide the smugness in his tone. "Dad, Huan didn't mean to hurt my sister. Please let her off the hook, considering she's carrying our Ju family's child." Father-in-law Ju Hao was completely unmoved, not showing the slightest bit of concern. The Ju family doesn't lack children. Their hearts skipped a beat. Yi Huan restrained her expression, never expecting Ju Hao to show disdain. Suddenly, they looked at me through the servants, even though there was some distance. I could smell the calculation in Yi Huan's eyes. 5. She pushed Ju Wen aside, looked around at everyone, and spoke abruptly. "You can't harm me. The child in my belly is a descendant of your Jew family, and it's a girl." As her voice fell, the entire room was stunned, with only Yi Huanhuan smiling, although Zhu Wen was a bit upset that Yi Huanhuan had revealed it. He had originally planned to wait until the child was born and the gender was confirmed to be safe before announcing it. "I'm afraid of following in Song Jiwa's footsteps," then I thought. Since he had already used the Zhu family's latest technology to examine Yi Huanhuan and confirmed it was a girl, there was no harm in making it public, proudly standing up. "Dad, you're not the only one who can have a daughter," taking out the report, forcefully proving it was true. The originally angry man became calm and ordered a room to be arranged for Yi Huanhuan, ensuring she was well taken care of. Every request was to be fulfilled to the best of their ability, and several bodyguards were assigned to protect her. From then on, Yi Huanhuan began living the life of a wealthy lady. She even walked like a proud peacock. If she was even slightly displeased, she would have people fired, and the servants all served her with their tails between their legs. He directly occupied my room. I sat in the rocking chair, sucking on a pacifier, watching the woman's face become increasingly excited and distorted. Zhu Wen invited the top doctors and nurses from the Zhu family to ensure Yi Huanhuan's safety, making it clear to everyone how much the Zhu family valued the child in her womb. On the 7th week, the 49th day, while sitting in the garden sunbathing, Yi Huanhuan suddenly felt abdominal pain. Cold sweat poured down. The pain grew increasingly intense, and blood actually stained her skirt. Eyes wide open, staring at the blood on the palm, letting out a heart-wrenching scream. "Someone, please come and save my daughter." The servant, also terrified, screamed at the top of her lungs to call for more help. I grabbed the stroller. Looking at the woman who was about to faint, my eyes filled with a cold glare. "Yi Huanhuan, the pain I've endured, you should experience it too." Yi Huanhuan woke up and instinctively touched her belly. Flat, with nothing there, her face pale, she frantically grabbed the nearest servant's hand and asked in a panic, "Where is my child? Where is my daughter?" Before the maid could speak, the doctor held a glass box, inside which lay a dead infant. "Miss Yi, your child is here." The cold tone made it sound as if it wasn't a baby inside, but a useless object. She resisted looking. Then, unable to bear the shock, she screamed, "My child, you actually killed my child. She is the Zhu family's precious treasure." After Yi Huanhuan finished her tantrum, the doctor calmly informed her that she had given birth not to a daughter, but to a sickly son. Zhu Wen, who had just returned, happened to overhear the doctor's words. He furiously grabbed Yi Huanhuan's scalp. His face contorted in rage. "Yi Huanhuan, didn't you tell me it was a daughter in your belly?" I didn't lie to you. It was clearly a daughter. How did it turn into a son?" "Zhu Wen, didn't you also check it?" Zhu Wen didn't believe it either. "It's clearly a girl's." The facts were right in front of her. No matter how she tried to argue, Zhu Wen didn't believe a single word, feeling like everything before her eyes was about to make her faint. Since the Zhu family learned that Yi Huanhuan was carrying a girl, they promoted him to a higher position, and next week he will become the deputy general manager of Zhu Corporation. Now everything has shattered. Zhu Wen blamed all the faults on Chen Yi Huanhuan and even cancelled the wedding. She had still held on to hope, thinking that Zhu Wen had feelings for her and loved her, and that even without a child, he would still marry her. Moreover, they are still young, and if they lose this child, she can have a second or third one. But he underestimated Zhu Wen's cold-heartedness. "That's how my children were lost back then." Yi Huanhuan was unwilling to leave Zhu Wen and the Zhu family. Unwilling to live a 9-to-5 life and use cheap cosmetics, she actually took the matter directly to the public, posting photos of the deceased child online, forcing Zhu Wen to marry her, leaving the Zhu family with no choice but to compromise. She thought she had one. But she ended up walking the same path I once did. Yi Huanhuan had no status in the Zhu family, like an invisible person, treated by Zhu Wen as nothing more than a tool for reproduction. I held the milk bottle, stared into the air, and listened to the few still childish voices discussing. Brother went into the bad guy's belly, so the bad woman can't give birth to a girl, and thus can't threaten mommy. We will also definitely protect mom from being bullied. 7 years passed. Today is also my 7th birthday, the big day I receive my 10 billion. The day Zhu Hao was exceptionally promoted to one of the chief executives. The servant dressed me up early in the morning. I was wearing a handmade dress airlifted from Italy, the only one in the world. With a crown worth over 100 million on my head and priceless children's high heels on my feet, slowly descending the stairs, Ju Wen carefully held my hand, and I sweetly called out, "Brother." Ju Wen's face lit up with joy, full of doting affection. Feeling a piercing gaze, I inadvertently turned my head and met Yi Huanhuan's resentful eyes. Frightened, I curled up and leaned against Ju Wensi. Noticing my unusual behavior, he asked what was wrong. I gritted my teeth and remained silent. Just looking away, Ju Wensi saw Yi Huanhuan. His face darkened as if he wanted to kill someone, and Yi Huanhuan retreated resentfully. Ju Wen now values me more than his own life. Back when Yi Huanhuan had a miscarriage and lost a baby boy, it had already reached a point of despair. If I hadn't continuously stayed close to him, the Ju family wouldn't have shown any mercy. Ju Wen is no fool. He naturally realized that being good to me brings benefits. So he pampers me in every way. Rumors have spread that he's a sistercon. The more Ju Wen treats me, his sister, well, the more benefits he gains, the more Yi Huanhuan resents me. Ju Wen had no extra feelings for Yi Huanhuan. Later, she became pregnant, and especially after giving birth, all were stillborn. Now her belly is protruding. This is Yi Huanhuan's fourth child. Her eyes looked up at the sky with a hint of reluctance. I don't care at all about Chen Yi Huanhuan's children dying one by one. My only sadness is that my own children, to protect me, transformed into the male stillborn fetuses in Yi Huanhuan's womb, fearing to deepen their sins. But no matter how much I tried to persuade them, the children wouldn't listen. It was Yi Huanhuan who seduced their father and incited him to kill them. Yet, they didn't know that their mother hated their father even more. Over these years, Ju Wen hasn't been idle either. Outside, the number of illegitimate children grew year by year, all boys. Knowing the Ju family wouldn't acknowledge them and fearing it would damage the family's reputation, he kept it tightly under wraps. However, the more it was suppressed, the more intense the crisis would be when it finally erupted. Standing in the center of the opulent banquet hall, he took the black gold card handed to him by the Ju family's head, a smile gracing his face. Smelling the black card, his gaze filled with anticipation as he glanced toward the door. Before long, there was a commotion at the door, and two beautiful women rushed in, filled with rage, heading straight for Ju Wen, both of them visibly pregnant. Ju Wen felt completely overwhelmed. He quickly signaled for the bodyguards to drive them out, but unfortunately, it was already too late. "Ju Wen, didn't you say there would only be me? Who is she?" Another woman also questioned Ju Wen. Meanwhile, Yi Huanhuan stared at the two women, completely losing her mind. It took her a long time to find her voice again. "Who are they?" She even pushed the two women away like a shrew. I was afraid to tug at Ju Wen's sleeve. "Brother, why are all their bellies so big?" Yi Huanhuan's eyes widened in a sneer, her body trembling, her mouth opening and closing repeatedly. "Ju Wen, you heartless scoundrel!" Yi Huanhuan, despite her heavily pregnant state, lunged at Ju Wen. Ju Wen, seeing his scandalous affairs exposed, looked furious, especially noticing the cold indifference in the eyes of the Ju family elders. His father shook his head and angrily pushed Yi Huanhuan away. Ju Wen was very strong, and seeing Yi Huanhuan about to fall, he instinctively reached out to pull her. I pretended to casually pull Ju Wen back, causing Yi Huanhuan to lose all support and fall to the ground. A sharp pain shot through my stomach. "My daughter. Save my daughter." Ju Wen looked indifferent, feeling that Yi Huanhuan's shouting only made her more ashamed. She had given birth 3 times. And all 3 were stillborn boys. Those in the Ju family who knew the inside story also believed Yi Huanhuan was lying. Soon, medical staff arrived and carried Yi Huanhuan to the adjacent suite. Ju Wen had no past, as if nothing had happened, shamelessly taking care of the guests. I raised my hand. Leaning against the specks of fluorescent light floating in the air, my eyes completely wet. That fluorescent light sensed my gaze, its tone light and cheerful. So well behaved it made one reluctant to part. "Mommy, I have to go. I can't stay with you. In the future, you must eat well, grow up happily, and my brothers also want me to tell you to find a good man. We might still have a chance to be your children again." I screamed in my heart, "Don't. I just want it not to leave." Unfortunately, that fluorescent light didn't hesitate at all and drifted straight into Yi Huanhuan's room, completely disappearing. My whole body went limp. Ju Wen tried to help me, But for the first time in these 7 years since my rebirth, I pushed his hand away. I looked at him coldly. Dirty, don't touch me. Ju-wen froze, startled by my demeanor, and there was a strange, inexplicable feeling. For a moment, he thought it was Song Jiue, before he could figure out what was going on. The doctor came in and told everyone in the Ju family that Yi Huanhuan's labor had started, and she couldn't wait to go to the hospital, so she had to give birth in the room. The Ju family's medical equipment was more complete than any hospital, and surgery began immediately after approval. From beginning to end, Ju-wen remained silent and uninvolved. The doctor came in, looking troubled, and informed everyone, only one could be saved, Yi Huanhuan or the child. No one in the Ju family had any intention of caring whether Chen Huanhuan lived or died, if it weren't for the influential guests and media present that night. They would have likely just said to let the mother go. As Ju-wen's father, Ju Hao came over to let Ju-wen make the decision. 7. Save the mother. Ju-wen knew that no matter how much he hated Chen Huanhuan and wanted her dead, he couldn't let the media catch the Ju family being cold-blooded. Ju Hao also thought it was appropriate and nodded, but then spoke again. Wasn't it said to be a girl? Yi Huanhuan always says that, and the checkups show it's a girl. But they're always boys when they're born. Ju-wen was unconvinced. Ju Hao nodded. I listened, sneering inwardly, standing aside and playing with the black card in my hand, full of anticipation. The doctor came out again and told everyone that Yi Huanhuan was out of danger. Everyone marveled at the Ju family's high-end medical equipment. I took a step forward, looking at the doctor with teary eyes. Uncle Doctor, where is Zhenzhen's nephew? I want the nephew to play house with me. I want him to be my little brother. The doctor's face was full of difficulty. Unsure how to speak, I acted as if I couldn't understand expressions, crying and shouting. I want my nephew to play with me. I just want my nephew. The doctor, at a loss, stammered, your brother and sister-in-law are young. They can have another child. She also added, your sister-in-law gave birth to a girl, not a boy. Next time, she will surely give birth to a good nephew for you to play with. Having gotten the answer I wanted, I nodded. This doctor must be new. So he doesn't know how much the Ju family values daughters. That's why he dared to say it so openly, which makes it all the more dramatic. Ju-wen rushed over like a gust of wind, grabbing the doctor's robe with a ferocious expression that seemed ready to devour him. You said Yi Huanhuan gave birth to a girl. The doctor's face flushed bright red as he nodded, panting heavily. Instantly, the entire banquet hall fell into a dead silence, broken only by Ju-wen's low growl. He ended the life of the child he had long dreamed of. Yi Huanhuan also lost her last child in this lifetime and could no longer bear children, as the child had also torn her uterus away. I watched the fluorescence grow fainter and fainter. I knew that my youngest child was about to disappear. Mommy, don't cry. I already feel very happy. It's because my brothers let me stay the longest that I could spend so much time with you. Mommy, you must be happy. When you meet someone who loves you as much as their own life, my brother and I will come back. I still want to be my brother's little sister and your daughter. I nodded and watched the fluorescent light completely disappear. I coldly looked at Ju-wen, who had collapsed and fallen weakly to the ground, shouting in disbelief, impossible, impossible. Ju-wen will never know that my third pregnancy was a pair of twins, a boy and a girl. The unborn child, fearing that his sister would be harmed, used his own body to shield her every time a needle was inserted, afraid she would get hurt. Yet their father, simply because they weren't the golden child, had them eliminated. He is worse than an embryo. Yi Huanhuan woke up to learn that her deceased child was a mother and child, and she lost her soul as if completely. At times she laughed. At times she cried. She would curse and hit anyone she saw. Ju-wen, however, was expelled from the Ju family. Trembling, he held the documents and looked at his father in disbelief. Dad, what are these? Even if he had a premonition in his heart, he couldn't believe it. Moreover, his father was one of the decision-makers in the Ju family, and no matter what, he wouldn't abandon him. Ju Hao couldn't bear to speak. Ju-wen, you've gone too far this time. Even I can't protect you. The Ju family has decided to expel you from the family and strip you of all assets. No, Dad, the Ju family can't treat me like this. I'll die. He had seen those branch families abandoned by the Ju family, living worse than dogs. In the past, he had mocked them, never imagining that one day he would fall to the same fate. Unfortunately, This was the Zhu family's decision. No matter how Zhu Wen resisted, he would be forcibly expelled, and to make matters worse, he had to take along the deranged Yi Huanhuan. Zhu Wen was unwilling. It was all Yi Huanhuan's impulsive fault, that bitch, for making him lose his daughter. Following Zhu Wen, Yi Huanhuan didn't have a single good day. It was either beatings or verbal abuse, sometimes even physical fights that made headlines. He had once harbored a faint hope that his father would be afraid of losing face and take him back. But nothing came of it, especially one night, when Yi Huanhuan took a knife and crippled one of his legs. All his hopes shattered into despair. He threw Yi Huanhuan out, making her a homeless person. Zhu Wen drank heavily every day, unable to distinguish between day and night, or between reality and dreams. In his dreams, there was Song Jiwe's voice and smile, her gentle voice. They had 4 children, both boys and girls. Girls? Why is it a girl? Didn't you say they were all boys? Zhu Wen rubbed his forehead, feeling sure he must have been dreaming about what he'd been thinking about at night. Yet, unable to resist the urge to investigate, he went to the Zhu family's hospital and, with great effort, retrieved my examination report, pointing to intrauterine early pregnancy, dichorionic twin pregnancy on it. What does this mean? The doctor glanced at him, covering his bruised and swollen face, and said with lingering fear, "It means twins." Fearing that Zhu Wen would go crazy and hit him, he added, "And it looks like a boy and a girl." Clutching the report, he sat down on the chair with a thud. "So Jiwe, she's also pregnant with a girl. Why was I told it was a single birth and a boy?" Her fists flew, landing on the man again. The doctor, scared, spoke up. It was Mr. Zhu Hao's instruction. His dad. Zhu Wen doesn't understand. No matter how Zhu Wen hit or scolded the doctor, they all said they didn't know. Not long after, Zhu Wen was taken back to the Zhu family, holding potato chips. I saw the furious Zhu Wen from the corner of the stairs, thinking to myself, the father-son confrontation and mutual destruction has begun. I naturally couldn't miss it, or else I would have wasted all this time waiting. I know Zhu Wen has stomach problems and often needs to go to the hospital. Zhu Wen was assigned a new doctor, and some information was implanted into his mind through hypnosis. Though the information was all true, it was all to make him suspicious of his own father. I couldn't understand back then why, even though I was pregnant with twins, I was still eliminated, as if someone was suppressing the birth of the children, or specifically suppressing the birth of Zhu Wen's children. It even seemed impossible. They are father and son. After all, I am carrying his grandson in my womb, ever since my mother-in-law became pregnant. And later when it was learned that a girl was born to the collateral branch, the excitement was overwhelming. It was as if they had achieved enlightenment and ascended to heaven. My father-in-law, Zhu Haoyao, has become a pivotal figure in the Zhu family. He also became increasingly indifferent to his son Zhu Wen. No matter how much Zhu Wen fooled around outside or how many grandchildren he fathered, Yi Huanhuan could have had a safe delivery with her daughter. But the doctor was forced to choose between saving the mother or the child. He knew his son's nature all too well. He didn't believe at all that Yi Huanhuan could bear him a daughter. Zhu Wen didn't flinch in the slightest when faced with his father's gloomy expression. He threw the report directly to Zhu Hao. "Dad, you even killed my son and daughter just to become the head of the Zhu family, just because you were afraid that I would surpass you and become the head of the Zhu family. Weren't you?" Zhu Hao sat calmly, smiling faintly with pursed lips. "When your father was suppressed by various collateral branches of the Zhu family his whole life, preventing him from making a name for himself, I had no choice. But those are your grandchildren. Anyone who stands in my way is nothing. Where is your sister? What if your sister gets in your way?" Zhu Hao didn't take it seriously. "Your sister is my lucky star. Everything I have is thanks to her. So of course it's fine." For the first time, Zhu Wen hated the Zhu family for having this dreadful rule. If not, Jiwe wouldn't have died, his children wouldn't have died either, his father wouldn't have been corrupted by power. I walked down the stairs, holding Zhu Wen's hand. "Brother, you're back. Junjun missed you so much. Did someone bully you and stop you from being the general manager? Junjun will plead for you." "Okay, don't leave, stay with Junjun." Zhu Wen gently squeezed my hand. Tears welling up in his eyes, he felt ashamed for having once thought of using his sister to return to the Zhu family, never expecting that Junjun genuinely liked him and was willing to plead for him. The deep sibling bond made Zhu Hao furious. fearing that I would grow up and become close to Ju Wen. He actually forbade me from seeing him. I cried my heart out. Hearing my cries, Ju Wen defied his father for the first time, insisting on taking me away. Taking me away was like taking away Ju Hao's future. Ju Hao lunged at him, and the two of them wrestled together. After an hour of fighting, Ju Wen's other leg was broken, and Ju Hao suddenly clutched his chest, begging Ju Wen to save him. "Ah Wen, quickly call 120 and take me to the hospital. I'm having a heart attack." Ju Wen turned to pull out his phone, and I leaned over to help. He froze completely, and I looked at him innocently. I knew Ju Wen was struggling with whether or not to save Ju Hao. My leaning in was to make him choose. Ju Hao seemed to understand Ju Wen's gaze, panting heavily in disbelief. "You beast, Junjun, save Dad quickly. Dad is about to die." I tilted my head in confusion, crying loudly, not knowing what to do. Only Ju Wen wore a sinister smile, comforting me. "Don't cry, little sister. Dad is just tired. He'll be fine once he falls asleep. He's about to doze off." Ju Hao died of a heart attack. Ju Wen excitedly held my hand. "Junjun, from now on, it's just the two of us depending on each other. You must help your brother. I want to join the Ju family and become the head of the household. Help, I will help." It was to help him go to jail. The surveillance information had already been automatically uploaded to the Ju family database. Soon, the gate was rammed open, and the Ju family's head entered, with police officers behind him. Ju Wen was arrested on charges of intentional homicide. He will never get out in his lifetime. Meanwhile, I was taken back to the main family to learn how to be a young lady. When he saw me again, Ju Wen widened his eyes with unprecedented fear, his finger trembling as he pointed at my face. "How is this possible? No, brother. What's wrong with you?" Ju Wen shook his head in denial. "Don't call me brother. I'm not your brother." I smiled and said, "Then what should I call you? Husband, Wen, or brother Wen?" Ju Wen was speechless. Ever since I started looking more and more like my past self, I've been looking forward to meeting Ju Wen. Ju Wen screamed, "Ghost!" Then, kneeling on the ground through the prison glass, he begged for mercy. "Ayu, I was wrong, it's all my fault." Everyone thought Ju Wen had gone mad in prison. Every day he would cry at the sky, then bang his head against the wall, saying many ghosts were haunting him. His wife had turned into a sister to claim his life. His child came to ask him to accompany them. Every day in the prison, there are agonizing cries and wails. On the way back, I saw a woman in tattered clothes standing by the roadside, picking bread out of the trash to eat. I rolled down the car window and made eye contact with her. The bread fell, she cried out, sobbing. Yeah. I didn't give her any chance to get close, told the driver to drive off, and heard a loud bang from behind as Yi Huan rushed into the street and disappeared. After reaching adulthood, I directly entered the management level, advocating for gender equality where both boys and girls are equally important in the family, and neither can be missing. Children should not become pawns in adult struggles for power and profit. If you want to love, please do so with genuine sincerity.